At issue is not whether or not we belong to the conservative movement. We are the conservative movement. Ron Paul reignited it. And liberty now has a chance to take root across this country thanks to the people in the stadium and the millions of others of Americans who stand with us across the country. Those who understand this represent America's future. Those who don't understand it represent the past, the mindless and empty partisanship of old. And eventually they'll need to wise up, shut up, or simply get out of the way. Said Senator Jim DeMint in January, quote, "If Republicans don't understand the important aspects of what Ron Paul is saying, we won't be able to exist as a party, certainly not a majority party." Senator DeMint was right. And if Reagan was right, that it is liberty that truly defines conservatism, that it is we that define the heart of conservatism, the heart and soul of the conservative movement more than any other movement in America today. Ron Paul has rekindled the fire of freedom, but it is we who carry that torch forward. Make no mistake, this is the cause of our lives, and like it or not, ready or not, liberty is on the way. Thank you.
What's up with these sorry politicians? Lots of bark. When it's showtime, whimpering like little shih tzus. You want big cuts. Ron Paul's been screaming it for years. Budget crisis? No problem. Cut $1 trillion year one. That's trillion with a T. Department of Education? Gone. Interior, Energy, HUD, Commerce? Gone. Later, bureaucrats. That's how Ron Paul rolls. Want to drain the swamp? Ron Paul. Do it.
I'm Ron Paul, and I approve this message.
Our next speaker is a student. She holds down 3 jobs. She was the youngest person ever elected to the Republican National Committee. She is the National Committee woman from the state of Maine. I asked her backstage, "How did you do all these things?" And the people standing next to her answered for her. They said, "Because she's a hard worker and she never gives up and she never stops. And when we had mailings and everyone was exhausted and went home, she was still there. And when we had phone banks and everyone got exhausted and went home, she was still there. And when we were dealing with the state party and the governor of the state was so traumatized by the way some of his peers were dealing with her and other Ron Paul delegates that he vowed not even to come to the Republican National Convention if they were disenfranchised. And everybody else gave up. She was still there. And yesterday, in the Rules Committee, when John Sununu ran over everybody else in the party and decided that henceforth precinct delegates wouldn't matter, county conventions wouldn't matter, district conventions wouldn't matter, state conventions wouldn't matter, 10 people would make all those decisions for the future Republican Party. I had this thought run through my head. John Sununu is here, but he'll be gone tomorrow. And this young lady, she will still be there. Please welcome the youngest person ever elected to the Republican National Committee, the National Committee woman from the state of Maine, Ashley Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you, Doug, for your very, very kind introduction. I also want to say thank you to Mark Willis, Maine's incoming National Committee man, for his tireless work to help get Maine's delegates sat. I look forward to working with you for the next 4 years, vigilantly fighting for liberty. And thank you to Adam Richardson, who got me started on this crazy adventure. And finally, thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of my fellow delegates nationwide for having the courage to stand up in the face of corruption, in the face of tyranny, to not back down, for not taking backroom deals, even when they threatened us, even when they used violence. You are an inspiration to us all. Keep fighting. We are all with you. We have come so far in this fight for liberty. You can truly say, this is a revolution. But the question is, what do we do next? How do we take what we have done, the sacrifices that all of us have made, and turn it into victory for liberty everywhere? While we're here in Tampa, there is still work that needs to be done. As you all now know, last week we lost 2 battles in the pre-convention meetings. These battles were lost on credentials and on the Rules Committee. We may have lost 2 battles, but the war is far from over. The Credentials Committee used faulty logic to rule against both my state's duly elected delegates and Oklahoma's duly elected delegates. This is unacceptable. But this is still a very small piece in a very large puzzle. Less publicly known are the devastating actions taken by the Rules Committee. 2 of the new rules adopted will put the nails into the coffin of the party that we all have grown. The new addition to Rule 15 means that every state will send bound delegates. In the best case scenario, delegates will be awarded proportionally. In the worst case scenario, every state could become winner take all. Even worse, the winning